G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest game in the world, rugby. And the Rugby World Cup Grand Final is only a few days away. And oh boy, everybody's already sinking each other, trying to bring everybody down before the final. And the biggest one is the English accusation of Bongi Mbonambi using racial slurs against Tom Curry, calling him allegedly a white cunt. Say that word on YouTube. And this official statement being released by World Rugby that they're investigating it. And there is a video that came out that showed that where allegedly the incident occurred. There's no actual sound of Bongi Mbonambi, at least not clear sound of Bongi Mbonambi saying those words to Tom Curry. There is a clear discussion of the referee talking to Tom Curry about the complaint. And according to a lot of you guys in the comments, it's that apparently the C word is not really a thing that you say in South Africa. And most likely this is a translation issue that with Afrikaans being spoken on the field. And most likely is these words that Bongi Mbonambi could have been saying wit can't or wide can't, which means in Afrikaans, white side or open side. And as a result, this could just be a complete misunderstanding of translations. And it is I do find it very very unlikely that someone like Bongi Mbonambi would use this sort of racial slurs. And I really think that I really think it's funny that Tom Curry, a white guy, complains about racism, because I think this is actually the first time I've ever heard a white person complain about racist slurs levied against them. And I just want to maybe take this opportunity to tell everyone what I think about racist comments levied against me. Personally, I give zero fucks about racism against me, okay? Because I am a firm believer that I am the master of my fate. I am the dictator of my life. I am in control of my destiny, okay? And I am not a fucking victim. I am a firm believer of that, okay? And the thing is, there's so many people out there who thinks that they're the victim of something that they can't control, and that is holding them down. There's so many people out there with their lives in the shits, and they can't get out of it because they think there's something else that is out of their control that is holding them down in it. And I personally don't believe that. Because you know what? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something that nobody will tell you in this life. Because and here it is, okay? It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how good looking you are. It doesn't matter how smart you are. There will be one day, sooner or later in your life, that life is gonna get you fucking down into the shits. Okay? There's no escaping. Everybody will get that at some point in their life. Okay? Okay, if you think about it, right? Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates have all the fucking money in the world, and they still can't keep their wives happy enough to not divorce them, right? So that day will come for everybody. The shit will come on you one day, whether you like it or not, no matter who you are, indiscriminately. And the way you deal with it is to claw yourselves out of the shit with your own will. Because that is what life is all about. And if you sit in the shit and you think you think someone else, something you can't control, is holding you in it, you're never gonna fucking get out. Because there's no one gonna be, there's only you and your own fucking will to get yourself out of there. And that's what I believe. And that's why I don't give a fuck about racist shit that's talked about me. Because, hey, makes life more fun. So anyway, that's my little rant about that. So yeah, Tom Curry, you do you, mate. But that's my thought on this issues. I find it really a little bit ironic. Anyway, so yes, and then we go on to the perpetual toxicity out of the media. So we had this guy, Matt Williams. Apparently he used to be an Australian, actually. I'm so glad he's not in Australia talking about this, because I'll be very upset. Basically said that the scrum heavy is not what the TV wants to watch. You know what? He said that not good for the global game. You know what's not good for the global game, Matt? Matt Williams, Mr. Williams. You talking shit about the sport. You bashing the sport that you think should be played in a certain way. When, believe it or not, Matt, more than 50% of the player base and fan base plays forward, and they like scrummaging. Okay, so Matt Williams, maybe keep your mouth shut. You are doing more damage to the game than the actual game itself. And especially, and then you got the other side from the Kiwi that say, who is this guy? I don't even know, Steve. I don't even know who this guy is. Apparently he used to be a scrum half. Basically came out and said he'd rather pick up dog shit. I guess you gotta go pick up dog shit for the grand final, mate, because you're just an idiot as well. So here's the thing, right? The game between England and South Africa is the highest viewed television record. Anyway, so yeah, it's what is it? UK television viewing record, right? So it is a masterclass of strategy. There's people calling Borthwick Alan Turing genius. It's masterclass strategy, masterclass management. Yes, it was sloppy at times, and the way that Springboks handled it, the way Springboks had to make the decisions to pull them out of the shit, the way England played, managed the game. It's absolute masterclass in terms of strategy, in terms of management, in terms of just players' determination to end up with this game. For those two, for people to come out to say that this is like not what people want to see. Like seriously, get the fuck out of rugby. Go fucking be a commentary in another sport. Like honestly, if these people are like in the NFL, they would have been fired years ago. They would not have a job in NFL if they come out bash the sport with idiocracy like this. It's just absurd how people can come out and just be completely not have any clue of what they're even talking about. Anyway, England came out, has revealed that Kevin Singfield, the assistant coach who worked with Steve Borthwick at Tigers, who was put into the England squad as part of the duo package with Steve Borthwick, because Steve Borthwick said that he wouldn't join England team without Singfield. They have decided to let him go after the Rugby World Cup as well. So yes, the double package is the Happy Meal is going to get broken up after the Rugby World Cup. England has announced the team to play Argentina in the bronze final this weekend. So yeah, let's have a go through the team, have a quick look at it. Coming in number 1 jersey, we got Ellis Genge. Coming will be he started off the bench against South Africa with a scrum penalty that cost him the game. He's not happy. He's licking his chops this weekend for sure against Argentina. Theo Dan finally gets an opportunity to go on the number 2 jersey. Pretty sure Jamie George played the full 80 minutes in both quarter and semi-finals, and Theo Dan really didn't have any time at all. I did see him run onto the field after the whistle during the little push and shove to try to get himself a little bit of exposure with the lights. Get himself a bit of a tan from the lights. But yeah, he's finally going to get himself some real time. Will Stewart coming in number 3, Mario Toji number 4, Ollie Chisholm number 5 jersey, Tom Curry number 6 in the blindside flanker position this weekend, with the open side going to Sam Underhill. He was recalled to the team due to an injury, hasn't played at all. This is the first game he's actually going to play in this Rugby World Cup. Number 8, Ben Earls, who's been tremendous for England. Number 9, Ben Youngs. And again, number 10, Owen Farrell he's infallible. Number 11, Henry Arundel, getting a shot with his speedy, how many tries? He's got 5 tries, I think, against, who was it against? He scored 5 tries against, who was it? You let me know. You guys can let me know. It's not Japan. It's not Samoa. Yeah, you guys let me know. Who was it? Anyway, so yeah, he was absolutely try scoring machine in pool stage. Marlo Tuilangi, number 12. Joey Merchant, number 13. Freddie Stewart in the wing, number 14. I'm surprised that he put Freddie Stewart at 14 and not at centre, as Sir Woodward has called for before the Rugby World Cup. So he still hasn't quite got the Woodward approval. And finally, number 15, Marcus Smith to be that second playmaker. On the bench, Jamie George, 17, Bevan Rudd. Dan Cole coming in number 18. And number 19, David Ribbons. and number 20, Lewis Latham, number 21, Danny Kerr, number 22, George Ford, and finally, Ollie Lawrence will finish the bench at number 23 for England this weekend. Next up, there's a lot of online abuse going on in France right now against the referee and against the players. So against South African players as well. So the France president Florian Grill has come out to social media to tell the fans to just really stop hitting the referee, stop the toxicity. And he talks about that the main thing with France is that they do need the referees to participate in the domestic competition, and they don't want the environment to be too toxic as to putting people off on wanting to be a referee for the domestic, development. So yeah, he's come out and really made it strong. And the one thing that I do think that Anton Dupont should get a fine, right, for criticizing the referee in the post-match function. That has always been the case with all the coaches. Eddie Jones has got fined. Everybody's being fined. I mean, there's players texting about referee performances after the match that got fined in England, and I'm very surprised that he hasn't been fined yet. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it'll happen after the Rugby World Cup. Cobus Reiner is one of the recipients of death threats. He does play in France in in Montpellier, and there's people issuing death threats at him. So yeah, really not very nice from the French public. Very toxic. The Rugby World Cup bronze final and final of referees has been announced. It's going to be Bongi for the grand final and Nick Berry for the bronze final between England and Argentina. So the All Blacks played Argentina in the semi-final. In the other semi-final, I thought there was a very good performance out of the All Blacks, and Argentina was just really not up to the match. It was pretty one-sided match. I'm very disappointed for Argentina for not showing up, and it was just it was actually just very disappointing. And there was an incident in the second half where Scotty Barrett got sent off at 65 minutes into the game with a yellow card, where he deliberately knocked the ball out of the Argentina number 9's hand. And he didn't return to the field. They just kept him off the field for the entire 15 minutes. That was the entire rest of the game. So it was kind of a statement for the All Blacks. And I think there's a lot of people saying that Scotty Barrett was waving to his dad or whatnot. I think he just needed to take a shit, and then he was just busy trying to unclog the toilet, and he couldn't get back in time. I think that's probably what happened. Next up, there's a few All Blacks players going to be their last match for the All Blacks jersey. Aaron Smith, Dan Coles, and Sam Wallock are going to be there. This is going to be the last outing if Dan Coles gets selected. And there's going to be a few players leaving for overseas. Not completely sure if their careers ended. Adi Savir is going overseas. I'm pretty sure Beauden Barrett's going as well. And who else was it? The Fainga Nuku going overseas, and Richie Mwanga is also going overseas. So all of these players, not sure if they're going to have, they might return at some point. Not sure if they're going to have any further participations in the All Blacks road to 2027 as well. Yeah, so there's not more than just these three players that could potentially be their final match under the All Blacks jersey. So yeah, the scrum is obviously a big talking issue at New Zealand camp. The injury factor has been noticed by the coach, the scrum coach, Jason Ryan. He's the one that basically saved the All Blacks from all their, forwards woes, their set piece woes over the last couple of years. And really, without him, I think the All Blacks wouldn't be in this position right now in the grand final against the Springboks. And that's going to be something that they're going to be addressing. And also, there's some interesting revelations out of the All Blacks camp that Dalton Papali'i has revealed that the All Blacks has, named themselves little bench instead of the South Africans got the bomb squad. They have named themselves the Easy Company. After watching Band of Brothers and some movies about war movies, they decided to call themselves the Easy Company. I don't actually know what this reference to. I have to look it up, which is apparently an infantry segment, United States infantry segment that was played in the in World War. That was in World War II. So that's why they decided to call themselves. Cool, interesting, and yes, major changes coming up for World Rugby going into 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. First up, they have. So let's talk about this first. So first up in 2027, there's going to be an expansion to 24 teams, which I completely disagree. I think this is stupid. But then again, they are expanding into more tournaments to allow lower teams to develop. So could potentially not be that bad, but as of this stage, I don't want to see more blowout matches. So yeah, so the plan is they're going to expand the game to 24 teams instead of 20 and have the pools added up to, let's just look down here. Yeah. So they're going to have the pools added to, where is it? Let's look at to 6 pools, right? 6 pools of 4. So instead of playing 4 matches during pool stage, you only play 3 matches during pool stage, and then there's a round of 16 before the quarterfinals. The round of 16 will be including the top 2 teams of each pool and the highest ranked teams. 4 highest ranked teams out of the third place will go into the round of 16. That's the setup, and then obviously we'll go on to the semifinal, so the quarterfinal, semifinal, and then the grand final. The tournament has been shortened by a little bit as well, so it's gonna be currently looking at the 1st of October to 13th of November in Australia. So it's gonna be really hot. Good luck. And then the tournament has been reduced to 6 weeks, 7 weekends, and it's going to be it's gonna be having 3 pool games instead of 4, and then round of 16 and so on. And so yeah, the pool stage has been reduced to 4 weeks instead of 5. So you're gonna have 3 weeks of matches and 1 week of break, and then go on to the pool stage after that. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I honestly don't want to see players getting blown out. They had something like this in 1999 where they had like a wildcard pool where teams could qualify for a wildcard spot for the quarterfinals. And I don't think this is I don't know. I don't like it as of today. The quality of the games is just not already there, and I just watching 100-0 blowouts by the tier 1 teams over some tier 2 team is not really pleasant at all, and it's not something that we want to see. It's not really a positive thing to the game at all. I think that having a smaller pools and having more competitive matches is much better than this. But yeah, it's World Rugby. So yeah, with that being said, they are doing stuff in the developmental areas to try to push the game in a higher level with the tier 2 nations. So first up, there's going to be a Pacific Nations Cup. It's going to be rebranded to expand with Canada, USA being added into the competition. So this competition is now going to be including Canada, USA, Fiji, Japan, Samoa, and Tonga. And now these teams are going to be divided into 2 pools, with Japan, USA, and Canada being in the Northern Hemisphere pool, and then Samoa, Tonga, Fiji in the Southern Hemisphere pool. And then the winner of the 2 pools will play each other in a sort of like a grand final sort of thing. And then the grand final will be hosted in Japan next year, and then the year after will be hosted in the USA, which is kind of good to expand that audience to the USA market, which is I think this is a quite good move by the World Rugby to try to include that. In addition to this, they are going to also introduce a massive change in the rugby calendar reform. So there's going to be a women and men's dedicated calendar. This has already been reported like a while ago, but basically they have confirmed that this is going to go ahead. Essentially, so for the men, they're going to add a biannual, so every 2 years, between the Lions Tour and between the Rugby World Cup, there's going to be an international competition, consists of 2 tiers, and there's a top tier of 12 teams and the bottom tier of 12 teams, and there's going to be a relegation. So top teams will obviously include all 6 teams from the 6 nations and the 4 teams from the Rugby Championship, and then they're going to add 2 additional teams, maybe from the Pacific Nations Cup, into the top 12 teams, and then the tier 2 nations will include, a lot of the other nations that are not included into it, like, Portugal, what do you call it? Yeah, Portugal, or the team, America, and all those teams that misses out in the top teams, and then there will be a relegation for the bottom team to be dropped between the 2 tiers, and that's going to start in 2030. The relegation will start in 2030, but the first tournament will start in 2026. So it's going to be 2026, 2028, and 2030. So it's going to be That's going to be the schedule every 2 years. So the first relegation will occurred after two cycles after two competitions. So in the third competition, the relegation will commence for this tournament, which I think is quite nice. And they also have a women's calendar going as well. I think the women's game is playing at the moment as well, alongside the Rugby World Cup. The women's 15s, I think they call it. Similar format as well. Courtney Lawson has called the end of his luxury career at the end of this weekend. So 34 years of age, 105 appearances, 106 I guess this weekend over 15 years. Quite a massive effort for him and for his country. So Ian Foster, with this weekend, his do or die match, Sir Fozzie will have an opportunity to prove to New Zealand Rugby that they made the wrong decision for replacing him. Obviously, there's a lot of disrespect levied against Ian Foster. I have criticized Ian Foster for his stupid selections. I've criticized him for his strategies. I've criticized him for all sorts of comments that he's made. But I have never called for Ian Foster to be sacked. And I think it's very disrespectful what they did to him, because it's just not the All Blacks way. The All Blacks have more respect than that. This is what the Wallabies do, sacking coaches, right? You don't want to go down that road. So yeah, I think it's really disrespectful. So obviously, New Zealand Rugby has announced a replacement for Ian Foster before the Rugby World Cup, with Scott Robertson, Razor from the Crusaders, to replace him. And Ian Foster has come out and said it's not about a personal thing. But come on, Fozzie. Come on, everybody knows it's personal. I really, if Ian Foster wins Rugby World Cup, I really wanted to just see him in the post-match function and just give the middle finger to New Zealand Rugby and just drop the mic and walk out of the room, right? Like, that'll be, come on, Fozzie, do it, Fozzie, just do it for everybody and show the world that New Zealand Rugby has made the wrong decisions. And finally, Lee Halfpenny has announced his retirement from international test rugby. He'll be playing his last game against the Barbarians, and 101 cap as well. He's actually been injured a lot in recent times, so he hasn't been given much game time recently. But another Wales legend going out to the sunset. So yeah, anyway guys, that's the news today. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I thought I'd wear the Wallabies jersey today because there's been a lot of complaints wearing the, being biased whether I wear the All Blacks or the Springbok jersey. So I thought maybe I represent, because wear the Wallabies jersey because, it's a quarter of the South African population already living here and half the New Zealand population already lives in Melbourne. So I might as well, put something that represents both nations, which is, I thought this is quite fitting. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for donating money and supporting me. Financially, I do really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys later this week for more build up towards the Rugby World Cup. And have a nice day, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.